Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today, members of the press, MIRA members. We are so honored to have with us Senator Markey, Congressman McGovern, Congresswoman Clark, and Mayor Walsh will join us in a few minutes. Congresswoman Presley couldn't make it due to a scheduling conflict, but we're happy to have her staff here with us. I also would like to acknowledge a few of the MIRA members who are here with us: 1199 ACAU, Agency Alpha, 32BJ, the Brazilian Women's Group, Chelsea Collaborative, La Comunidad, Haitian American United, the Irish Immigration Center, JALSA, Lawyers for Civil Rights, and the Massachusetts Committee, and many other friends and supporters. Thank you so very much. Marty Martinez just joined us from Mayor Walsh. We are here today because we are facing a slow-motion humanitarian disaster. More than 1 million immigrants who had been working and living legally in this country for years now face deportation. The only thing protecting them is orders from federal courts. I can't say this enough. This is an urgent crisis. In Massachusetts alone, we have almost 6,000 young people with DACA and 12,000 with TPS, whose future is uncertain. And it's not just them who are affected. They have spouses, they have children, businesses, and community organizations. They are valued employees at our hospitals, our nursing homes, construction companies, hotels, restaurants, and universities. The average TPS holder from El Salvador has been here over 20 years. The average Haitian over 15 years. That is a long time. They have deep roots in our communities. Many DACA recipients have been here for most of their lives. To uproot these immigrants from our communities would do serious harm to our economy, and it would devastate thousands of families. We can't just rely on the courts to keep DACA and TPS alive. The clock is ticking, and sometime soon, hopefully next year, but eventually the Supreme Court will rule in these cases, and we don't know how it will go. Only Congress can protect DREAMers and TPS holders. This is a very, very important bill. Not only does protect current DACA and TPS holders, but would also cover people eligible for these programs, but not currently enrolled. And it would cover a whole wave of DREAMers who arrived in this country in 2007, 2015, and 2016. But our estimate, the DREAM and Promise Act would benefit about 40,000 people here in our Commonwealth, plus their spouses, their children won't live in fear and won't be separated from their families. This is an important bill because it really changes the conversation. For the past 2 years, DREAMers and TPS holders have felt like pawns in the fight over immigration. DACA and TPS extension got offered as trade-offs for the border wall, interior enforcement, or cuts to legal immigration. DREAMers were asked to accept deals that would save them at the expense of their own parents. This bill says no. DREAMers and TPS holders aren't bargaining chips. They're highly valued members of our community. They deserve to live here without fear or uncertainty. It's the right thing to do. No trade-offs. We know the road is difficult, but we are here with members of Congress, with powerful voices in Congress, who will tell us about the direction of this bill. I am really delighted to invite to the podium our amazing Senator Markey, a powerful voice in the Senate and a champion on immigration. Thank you so much, Senator, for being here.
Thank you, Ava. And thank you, Ava, and thank you to Congressman McGovern, Congresswoman Clark, our great mayor of the city of Boston, Mayor Walsh, who has joined us, and to all of the DACA TPS recipients who are joining us here today. Thank you for all of your fearless leadership. This is a very important fight to have. And I want to thank all of the groups for being here today who support the DREAM and Promise Act. This coalition represents the best of the Commonwealth and the best of our country, and we hear your call for justice. The Trump administration's reckless decision to terminate protections for DREAMers under DACA and immigrants with temporary protected status, or the Deferred Enforcement Departure Program, has upended the lives of hundreds of thousands of immigrants and their families. It has created devastating, widespread fear and uncertainty in the broader immigrant community. It is heartbreaking to witness the Trump administration strip protections away from people who are Americans in every way that should matter, leaving them to live under the threat of deportation. We are here to say no more. We are here to say we must pass legislation that protects these families. And I am proud that my Democratic colleagues in the House are taking bold action to create security and opportunity for immigrants in the Commonwealth and around the country. The DREAM and Promise Act provides a permanent legislative solution to the crisis faced by DACA beneficiaries and immigrants with TPS and deferred enforced departure. I strongly support this bill, and I am committed to helping to create a pathway to citizenship for every single one of these immigrants. Many of my Democratic colleagues in the Senate share this resolve. We know that it will be an uphill battle in a Republican-controlled Senate, but we are prepared to fight tirelessly to this end. We are energized, we are determined, we are unwavering, because we owe security and certainty to the immigrants who enrich our nation. These immigrants are engineers, police officers, teachers, and students, many in our great Massachusetts institutions of higher learning. They serve bravely in our military. They are the best and brightest, and they are making the most of the opportunities that the United States has always provided to immigrant communities. We will not abandon those who have given so much to our country. We will not pit groups of immigrants against one another. We will fight together to ensure that all immigrant communities receive the protections which they deserve. This building is where the immigration office is. This building, this immigration building, should not represent what is happening in our country. This immigration building should represent hope, not hate. This building should represent the future and not fear. This building should represent a welcome and not worry. It should be a dream and not despair. It should represent a promise and not a punishment. That is why we are here today, to ensure that our voices are heard from Massachusetts and that that voice is heard across our country, and that we pass legislation that protects all of these families. So let me turn now and introduce our powerful chairman of the House of Representatives Rules Committee, Congressman Jim McGovern.
You have a microphone problem, please. It's dropped. Oh, we can hear you. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. I want to thank my colleague Ed Markey. I'm happy to be here with Catherine Clark and Ava. Thank you, Amira, and I'm happy to be here with the great mayor of the city of Boston, Mayor Walsh, and so many friends and activists who are here because we care very deeply about our immigrant community. And we are here today to make it clear to the DREAMers and to TPS holders that we have your back, that we are going to fight for you, that we are going to support legislation in Washington to give you a pathway to citizenship, because to do anything less would betray our values. We are also here to send a message to Donald Trump that we're sick and tired of your hate. We're sick and tired of your anti-immigrant rhetoric. We're sick and tired of your bigotry. Every time you open your mouth, every time you tweet about our immigrant community, you diminish our country. You betray our values. The people that we are talking about, the DACA recipients and the TPS holders, they have legal status in this country. The average DACA recipient came here when they were 6 years old. Some of them now are in their 20s and older. The average TPS recipient has been here for over 22 years. They've been here legally. And if you have TPS, you have to register with the federal government. You have to go through a background check. And every 18 months you have to do the same thing. So not only are they complying with the law to keep this status, they are the most law-abiding people in our country. I wonder how many people in the Trump administration cabinet could pass a background check. But these people do every 18 months. So these are people we should value in our community. We should celebrate their presence here in our community. And we should fight for them to be able to stay here. Now, I know a little bit about TPS because a long time ago I worked for a congressman named Joe Moakley who wrote the TPS statute. The key word in temporary protected status is protected. And people coming from countries, especially like El Salvador and Honduras, and I go on and on and on, are fleeing the most violent situations imaginable. The people coming to our border from these countries are coming because they're fleeing for their lives. To take somebody who's been here for 22 years, who's maybe got married, has kids, has a job, has a business, has a mortgage, and say, you're no longer welcome here, is not only cruel, it is unconscionable. And we will not let that stand. Look, we are going to act on the Dream and Promise Act. We are going to pass that in the United States House of Representatives. Senator Markey mentioned I'm the chairman of the Rules Committee. I can bring things to the floor. This is coming to the floor for a vote and for a debate. And we are going to win. And we're going to send it over to the Senate, where I know Senator Markey is going to fight hard to try to get his colleagues to bring it up for a vote in the Senate. And I believe there is bipartisan support for this. How could anybody with a heart turn their backs on these people? Now, I don't know what the president would do if it came to his desk. I'm not sure he has a heart when it comes to people who are fleeing violence or who are immigrants in our community. But I'll just close as I began. The people that we are talking about here are people that we should value, we should celebrate, we should treasure, and deserve all of our support. And we are going to have their back, and we are going to fight for them. And I look forward in the not too distant future to winning, because I believe ultimately we will win, and we will not give up until we win. So thank you very much. I'm now happy to introduce my colleague, who's now a leader in our Democratic caucus, and who has a great future, and I'm proud to serve with her, Congresswoman Catherine Clark.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Ava. It is so good to be here with Mira and our other allies and partners, with Senator Markey, my friend and colleague Jim McGovern, and of course the ally we count on for so many things, but the mayor of Boston, Marty Walsh. And I'm very proud to be here with Jose. He is one of my constituents in Malden, and he is a TPS recipient from El Salvador, and he exemplifies not only how TPS makes our communities better, but the American dream. He came here seeking refuge, he's raising a family, he's a homeowner, and he owns a small business. He is a job creator in my district and in the Commonwealth. And what we are here to celebrate is that here in the Commonwealth, we're not about building walls, we're about building bridges. And we are about recognizing that what we do for DREAMers and what we do for TPS is what we do for our democracy, and that the two are tied and we cannot separate them. So we are going to be in this fight. And Jim McGovern and I are going to make sure that the DREAMers and Promise Act gets passed. Time is ticking for too many people. There are deadlines coming up, and as Ava said, we cannot rely just on the federal courts. We need to make sure that we are taking advantage of this moment where we have some temporary security for families to ensure we have permanent security. We will get this through the House, but we need all of us together to help out Senator Markey and his Democratic allies to make people understand that the people we're fighting for, they are what makes America great. And that the very things this administration professes to support are right here in our communities. People who know the understanding of hard work, of being law-abiding, of giving back to their communities, of creating jobs, and defining what it means to have an American dream. It is good for all of us. It is good for our communities when we push back together against these dangerous and hateful and bigoted policies. We're going to stick together and get this through the Senate. And we're going to work locally on the state level and the federal level to do it. Our message to you is we see you, we hear you, and we are going to work together to make sure that we fix this. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Boston, Marty Walsh.
No event is complete without our fabulous mayor. Thank you so much for being here.
Listen, let me just start by thanking everyone for coming out today. I usually start my speech off saying I'm a proud son of immigrants. Today I'm saying a little different. 28% of the people that live in the city of Boston are like my mother. They were born in another country. 48% of the people that live in our city are first generation like I am. That's I often say we're either one boat or plane ride away from being immigrant ourselves. Government should respect our immigrant community. Federal government should respect our immigrant community. I'm not going to repeat what the senator said or either the Congress people here. They're incredible leaders, and they've been at this fight from day one, from 2016, from January 2016 to today. This act, the Dream and Promise Act, is about offering solutions, not scapegoats. Not villainizing and criminalizing our immigrants, not talking about how they're criminals and they're bad. As I said to you earlier, 28% of the people in our city were born in another country. We're one of the most successful cities in America if you look at the numbers, whether it's our economy, whether it's our housing production, whether it's our education, whether it's our low numbers in crime. We're a good, safe, strong city because we're an immigrant city. We need to make sure we treat immigrants like people, not problems, because our immigrants are people. One of those people I'm going to go visit later on tonight and say hello to her and give her a kiss. Because when she came to this country, because she wanted to earn a few dollars and send back home to her parents, because they were raising 6 of her brothers and sisters. My father, when he came to this country, he's one of 13. He came here with nothing, literally nothing. And when he came here to work, and what he did was he helped build this city. He worked in construction jobs in downtown and in Cambridge, other places. Immigrants built this country. Maybe there's some people that don't want to understand that or recognize that, but every time you walk into a church, there's a good chance that that foundation that was laid in that church was built by immigrants. That altar that was built by immigrants. The pews that we sit in were built by immigrants. The people that supported that church in the very beginning, regardless of the faith, were immigrants. We need to make sure that everyone understands that the city of Boston, we stand with our residents, all of our residents, our immigrants, and all the people that are here. I know we're talking about TPS and DACA today, but Boston, we stand with all our immigrants, regardless of who they are or what their status is. We need to continue working closely with MIRA and other organizations to make sure that we move forward. Now, I am thrilled that Congressman McGovern spoke today, and Congresswoman Clark spoke today about passing this through the United States Congress, because that's important. And we have 2 incredible senators here in Massachusetts that we know where they stand, and Senator Markey's here today. And I had a meeting with Senator Markey a couple weeks ago. I was in his office, and we were just talking about life. And there's 98 other members of the United States Senate that we need to reach out to. And how can we help there? We can call our friends, our family, in other states across America to let them know the importance of having their voices heard in their cities and towns. I will make sure, as mayor of Boston, the largest city in New England, that our voice will be heard at the U.S. Conference of Mayors across the United States of America to let other United States senators know the importance of making sure not only that this comes for a vote in the United States Senate, but it actually passes. And then we put pressure where we need to put pressure. Usually when we stand outside a federal building or a city building or a state building and we talk policy, we're talking about politics. We're talking about passing legislation that's political and it's politics. This isn't about politics today. This is about values. Where are our values as a city, as a state, as a country? That's what this legislation is about. It has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with values. And we need to continue to make sure that we let people know that we're talking about values and we're talking about human beings. We're talking about people. We're not talking about a grand policy. We're not talking about the Affordable Care Act as far as passing, even though that deals with people. We're talking about people. We're talking about people that live in the city of Boston right now and all over, that are afraid, that love this country as much as somebody born here does. So I want to thank everyone that's here today. I want to thank you because you are making our city and our country better. And we will continue to fight to make sure that everybody has a fair shot at the American dream. Because if somebody told my mother and father in 1967 when I was born, in 1968 when I was 1, or 69 when I was 2, that you're not welcome here, then I wouldn't be standing here as mayor of the city of Boston. I'm only here because 2 immigrants came to this country. They got married, they found each other, got married, they had a child, and they came here because America was the American dream. We talk about the slogan, make America great again. America's always been great. It's always been great. And we need to continue to make America great so people that are here can go to bed at night and not worry about the future of their family. I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for your advocacy today. And I want to thank the press. I want to thank the press that's here today. Because generally when we have a press conference, there's 3 or 4 or 5 people here, sometimes 5, covering the event. I want to thank you for your covering this event today. Because it's so important that we get the message out of the immigrants that are standing here in City Hall Plaza. Because they are part of the 28%, most of them are part of the 28% of our city that were born in another country, and all of them are our brothers and sisters of this city. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mayor Walsh, for those powerful words and for your leadership. Thank you so much, Senator Markey. Congressman McGovern, I'm so proud to be your constituent for over 20 years. Congresswoman Clark, thank you so very much. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Jose Urreas, who is a TPS holder, and he is a business owner and an employer. Thank you so much for being here to share your story with us.
Hi everyone, my name is Jose Urias. As everyone say, I'm a TPS holder, and also I'm a small business owner. And I mean, as being living in the United States for the past 22 years, I am part of my community. I am part of this country. I create work for other people. So how are we going to allow this administration? I said I work so hard to create my business, to achieve my dream. How are we going to let them to tell me that I have to shut down my business? How are we going to let them separate my family? I'm just an example of thousands of families across the country. We cannot allow this administration to do this to us. This is an emergency for us. We have until September 9. After September 9, we are in problems. We just not have a problem we not just have a problem on that. I guess also we facing driver license in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. All the TPS holders after September, we're gonna be losing our driver license too. After 22 years playing by the rules, doing as what they told us to do. How dare can tell me I'm not allowed to be here. I'm not allowed to keep raising my family. They are American citizens too. So where is the difference? Why? Can we ask the question why? Why we against to people who play by the rules and we doing what we can? We pay taxes, we do everything we need to do. I don't think it's fair, and we need to fight for, and we expect from our senator to be a champion and pass this legislation, and also the Congress. They need to be a champion. That's what we expect from Massachusetts. That's why we've been meeting all of them across the country, and that's why we decide as a part of the TPS community of Massachusetts, we being organizing across the country. We have around 60 communities across the country in 32 states to reach all those Congress and senators for all different states to tell them they need to work with us and they need to stand by us. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for your words. Our next speaker is Karina Ham. She is a dreamer and a student at the Lesley University.
Hi, my name is Karina. I am 20 years old and I'm currently attending Lesley University as a sophomore, and I am planning to be an education teacher. So I'm going to double major in early ed and psychology, and I am here today. Well, first of all, thank you for being here and supporting us and standing with us. I just want to say that it's been such a pleasure working with advocacy, working with Mira, working with Sim. There's a lot of organizations that stand by and with us. And I came here to the United States when I was 4. I am under DACA now. I came from Honduras with my mom. My dad has TPS, and he came when in 1999 because there was a earthquake in Honduras. And like many, also like Jose was saying, there's a lot of examples. I am one of them. I am under DACA, and that has given me a work permit, that has given me a social security